Hey, good morning, friends. Today is Monday, September the 16th, 2024, and the time now is 7:12 a.m. So today I want to talk briefly about the situation in the D.R.C. That is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This pertains to the Friday sentence that was handed to Americans, okay, 3 Americans. Once again, this past Friday in the Congo, D.R.C., 3 Americans who participated in a failed coup attempt in May were handed a death sentence. And so far, this is one of the hottest news right now in international relations or in the global media. Folks are talking about it from India to Europe. You can find it on DW, French 24, and so on. And also in the United States. All of the medias and major papers are carrying the story. That is because you have, once again, 3 Americans. One, the name of Marcel Malanga, whose father was killed during the coup attempt, and his father was known as Christian Malanga. Now, as for the other Americans, the 2 other Americans who went to Congo with Christian Malanga, their names are Benjamin Rubin Zalman Polon and Tyler Thompson. So I'm going to repeat the names of the Americans, the 3 Americans who were sentenced to death. The first one is Marcel Malanga, who basically is the son of the now deceased Christian Malanga, the one who basically led the coup. And then you have Benjamin Rubin Zalman Polon and then Tyler Thompson. Now, it is an interesting thing looking at the fact that based on the accounts that is being given is that Christian Malanga had basically, yes, he lived in the United States. He had also went to Europe where he led some kind of party, a government of the D.R.C. in exile. If that being the case, why is it that Western leaders, whether we are talking about in Europe or the United States, did not blow the alarm? That I do believe is because they themselves, they sanction such activities, they like such activities because this historically has been the manner in which Western leaders are able to infiltrate the African system and install African leaders who basically are beholden to the West and not to the African people. And in this case, the Congo. It is said that Christian Malanga had basically organized a trip to the Congo, which, according to the 2 white American participants, their families were saying that they were expected to be doing a trip, making a trip to South Africa, some kind of once in a lifetime trip. And then they ended up in the Congo. But then my question here is, how the hell did they end up in the Congo? Did they go to the Congo legally? Did they check in with immigration when they got into the Congo? And also it is said that the 3 Americans were among the many who were arrested basically trying to flee from the presidential mansion or complex after the coup was basically defeated. For Christian Malanga, he was killed. Now, the families of the white Americans are saying that their sons were innocent or that their sons are innocent. I'm not going to fight that. But again, it is very interesting where whenever a Westerner commit crime in Africa, the Western media and their families in the United States or in the West often stress their innocence. And in this case, the might of their family as being Americans or Western or Westerners are basically taking over the African president or the African country's statement. But we don't know how this is going to unfold. But it is very interesting that you have some mediocre young men Of course, one of them is supposed to be 36 years old, trying to go to Africa or going to Africa, to the Congo, about 8,000 miles from the western coast of the United States, to basically carry out a coup. Shows the weakness of Africa, the African people, and the African system. When anybody think that they can do whatever they want in Africa. Now, I'm going to repeat that this entire venture of trying to overthrow an African government or president was mediocre. These are mediocre group that went into the Congo and trying to take out a government. But once again, it shows the fact that many around the world do not respect Africa or Africans. The fact that many believe that they can impart change in Africa whenever, however, wherever they want. You traveling from the western seaboard of the United States to go into Africa, into the Congo, a country that is as large as the east coast of the United States, to try to take out a president. Congo has over 80 million people. What are you thinking? Who the hell do you think you are trying to carry out such venture? It shows the belief that many around the world, or in this case, that some Americans in this case have, that they can dominate a country, a culture, a system, all the world, and can do whatever they want and get away with it. Now, the Congo D.R.C. is a country that has been through a lot. Whether we are talking about 15 to 20 to 25 million people who died as a result of the brutality of the Belgian king, Leopold II, and the aftermath of that, and following the assassination of Congo's first elected prime minister or leader at the end of colonialism in Congo and the Congo gaining independence, the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, and the installment of Mobutu. The Congo has been through a lot, and now you have a current genocide that is going on in the Congo. It is said that over 5 million people have died. With this being the case, you have some idiots trying to go and change a government to basically carry out a coup in such country. Now, we are seeing coups in Africa. We've seen coups in the Sahel, which many Africans do welcome. But this coup, attempted coup in the Congo, which failed, many Africans do not welcome that, because the coup was nothing to change Africa. It was not about changing Africa for the best. It is not like the other coups in the Sahel. And I do believe that is why many Africans are against it. But I do feel as if Congo, the D.R.C., must make example out of anybody, any group, any citizens from any country that goes in the country, in the Congo, the D.R.C., and try to cause trouble. In this case, the government of the Congo and many around the world, even myself, who will call for justice, that the Congo must basically set example. I do know that many will be either taken out or canceled, whether we are talking about in terms of their social standing, in terms of their finance or employment. But the DRC Congo has been through a lot for the past few hundred years. Whether we are talking about the transatlantic slave trade, whether we are talking about colonialism, we are talking about what King Leopold did to the people of the Congo or the Congo region. We are talking about the Congo after the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, and the Congo after Mobutu or during Mobutu, and the Congo now that is experiencing genocide. If countries and governments such as the United States, Brussels, Belgium, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and so on, if they are really serious about equality and fairness and law and order, they will begin to persecute their own citizens for carrying out such activities, such as what we are talking about that happened and failed in the Congo. Because the Congo and the people of the Congo has been through a lot. Had this coup in the Congo succeeded, in not only ousting the president, but let's say a lead into an all-out war, it would have been the people of the Congo suffering, running for their lives, in addition to what is currently going on in the Congo. In this case, it is not enough. I know there are those who are talking about whether the U.S. State Department is trying to get involved to have the Americans to appeal the sentence, the death sentence. Whether that is the case, looking at what's happening in the world today, or at least even for the Americans or the United States reputation, given that it has taken hit, whether we are talking about the war in Ukraine or the war in Gaza, in the Middle East, okay, between Israel and the Palestinians, or what could be happening in East Asia, the Americans have to be very careful in going after American citizens or in speaking or acting as if they are separated from the actions of some of their citizens around the world as a means to save face, because this, in the long term, is not going to be good for the Americans or for the United States in general. Now, in terms of the perpetrators, the three Americans who basically are making the headlines, and we are talking about Marcel Malanga, whose father was the leader and he was killed during the coup as a result of him trying to resist an arrest. We are talking about Benjamin Rubin Zalman Polon and the third one, Tyler Thompson. Looking at video of them at the compound where the trial was taking place, it is very interesting. These guys seem to not care or not know of the seriousness of what they are in. They were chatting, acting as if this was an everyday hangout with your buddies. Of course, to an extent, the two white Americans try to play it. Now, for Marcel Malanga, whether he is just stupid or he is being told to do such thing as a means to try to separate him from the white Americans, because that's what it seems. Now, there are those who could say conspiracy theory or conspiracy theories, but I want to know if the same person who is advising Marcel Malanga, is the same person, the same defendant who is advising the other two Americans, the two white Americans, because it seems very interesting here. The white Americans are acting different, and then you got this guy, black Americans slash Congolese by heritage. He was doing a whole lot of chatting. In fact, looking at a video where at a point where they stood up, he had a book and he held the book in a way that the book's title page is facing the camera, is being seen in the camera. Now, I don't know whether he is just stupid or he is being told to do such thing to make a fool out of himself. So it is an interesting thing seeing what's going on. But once again, the young man who is supposed to be 22 years old, Marcel Malanga, stood holding a book, and the book, the title cover, is showing to the camera. I asked myself when I saw that video, is this guy promoting a book? What is he trying to prove? Who is advising this kid? And it seems that to me, or it appears to me that there are two different systems going on here. Malanga seemed to be on his own, and the two white Americans seem to be on their own. And it seems to be the case to me. But to be honest, all of them were chatting. They keep looking at each other. They basically acted as if they were hanging out with their homies, their friends, watching a basketball or a football game. Of course, Marcel Malanga was doing lots of the chatting, as I've said a couple of minutes ago. He was smiling, his face lit up. He got this big smile stretching across his face. He doesn't seem to care and doesn't seem to understand the seriousness of what he is in, the seriousness of what he had participated in. Now, the other defendants, their parents are saying that Marcel Malanga's father, Christian Malanga, had basically placed their kids, their boys, under gunpoint and threatened their lives that if they do not participate in the coup, he was going to kill them. And it is said that Marcel Malanga's mother also said the same thing, that the father, Christian Malanga, had threatened to kill her son if the young man, Marcel Malanga, refused to participate in the coup. However, looking at the image, seeing what is happening, it doesn't seem as if these young people were innocent. It doesn't seem as if Marcel Malanga and the other two Americans were innocent. It seems as if they willfully participated in something, whether they did not realize the intensity of what they were getting themselves into. For one of the gentlemen, it is said that he was offered about 100,000 to serve as a security. Perhaps that's what they went to do, but they did not realize it was beyond that. They were going to take out an African president, basically oust an African president to coup a country. Perhaps they are right, perhaps they are wrong. But looking at the pictures that are coming, okay, and the manner in which the Americans are acting, the thing seems suspicious. Now, everybody in the Congo and even the Americans must take this seriously, because in the United States, just yesterday, we got news of another assassination attempt against Donald Trump, which was basically foiled by the FBI. And so far, Donald Trump is safe and sound. With this being the case and these things are happening, I think we all need to understand what's happened in the Congo, what these Americans participated into, whether it is willfully or against their will. Because the situation in the Congo could have gotten out of hands. Now, for the Congolese, I do believe the Congolese and the rest of Africa must begin to make example out of foreigners. Because we are at the point where foreigners, especially Europeans, okay, people of European heritage, are going to Africa or doing whatever the heck they want and getting away with it. That is insulting to Africa and African people. My friends, I'm going to end here. Please tell me what you think. But I want to thank you for being a member of the Echoing Voice, and I also want to thank you for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace.